Today for us, everyone involved in this event, has been quite a journey. We're really delighted that we're at last at the event. For the past 3 years, we've been working to put together what is the first major auto show in Melbourne for 15 years. And also, on top of that, the first National EV Show that really represents a really major part of the EV industry. And in doing so, we've brought together a series of exhibitors across various aspects of the industry besides EVs, scooters, e-scooters, e-bikes, charging, finance, and a really combination of major options for visitors to really get hold of. And as we know, there's been a journey with EVs going on, and I guess we're blessed in the fact that the industry is really coming to a fore. Product supplies come back, new models are coming out, and the future of electric is with us. In doing so, the obligations and the transitions that are taking place are ultra important as we go forward with this revolution. Sustainability, emission controls, all the things that the government's currently addressing are all coming to play. And we see this as a very important footprint for the future of transport, but also the future of the climate and the other areas that are so important to where we are and what this industry is bringing to the party. The EV show, the Melbourne EV Show, will, over the next 3 days, provide information via the car sales e-live theatre. And in that regard, we're very honoured to have Greg Russ and Nadine Armstrong with us as hosts. And they'll, together with 60 speakers, at least 60 speakers, present programs and topics that are critical for people who are really looking at coming into this space. So our attendees, yes, there are people who already have EVs, but from our survey we're seeing that there's a lot of people who are looking to buy an EV. They don't understand about charging, they don't understand about what is happening and what the options are. So this event itself has been put together to allow a person to come into the space and really look at what they're doing and what they're saying to us, that they're looking to buy between 3 and 12 months or beyond, but the journey begins here. So we are a crucial part of an event that comes back into play. This is an annual event that we're looking to put forward, and we're delighted to be able to stand here today with particularly our naming sponsor in car sales, and we acknowledge the car sales is one of the major people we get. We're over the moon when car sales came on board. It just was the icing on the cake for us to be able to bring everything together, and the car sales people have been tremendous. So for that, thank you. In addition to car sales, we also have some principal sponsors. In that regard, they are the Get Electric and ABB. We also have the support of the City of Melbourne, the Australian EV Association, and also the Tesla Owners Club of Australia. And it's organisations and support like that that really makes an event like this come together. In addition, there are the exhibitors, the media. There's some media support that we've had from various areas. And overall, one of the last but very important people I'd like to acknowledge is the ABF team. The ABF team has worked very hard on this, and I'm blessed to have such a great group of people. In terms of why the event is in Melbourne, Melbourne is the ideal location. Melbourne has always had a major motor show, and we're glad to see that it's back. Melbourne is a progressive city, it's an event city, but more importantly, it is very well attuned to the journey of the EV revolution. And in that regard, I'd like to welcome you all. I'd like to hopefully you have a good stay when you're with us and have a good look around and see what's happening down there. And enjoy the show and let the electrify of the future begin. Thank you, and I'd like to call to the stage Greg Russ and Nadine Armstrong. Thank you very much.
Well done, Ray. Thank you very much to everybody from ABF as well. Congratulations. Welcome to our media colleagues in the room. How good is it to actually have a motor show happening again? I grew up in New South Wales. I have very vivid memories as a kid going with family to events like this, but I think as Ray detailed there, it's been some time since we've had something like this. I've also worked here in Melbourne at motor shows over the years. So tremendous to think that we've brought all these manufacturers, exhibitors into one place, and that we can cater to people that are passionate about it, but also those with curious minds that may be new to this space as well.
Absolutely, and I think those 60 people that will be on the stage over the next 3 days or so really represent the diverse group of people that will also walk through the door. So they are people that will talk about charging, we've got OEMs talking about new products, but let's think about that some of the people may never have even sat in an EV. They haven't held a charging cable in their hand. So we really want people to have conversations like we do on What's Under the Bonnet. The more conversations we can have, the better people feel about this transition. We know that people spread far and wide in Australia, that it's not easy for everyone to take this step to electrification, and there's plug-in hybrids out there. So we want to show people that there are sort of, stepping stones along the way. We want them to feel good about this event and leave having learned something, I guess.
Our colleagues here in the room will get the chance to go down and have a look at the various offerings that we have here this weekend shortly. And there is something for everyone, isn't there?
Absolutely, and I know that a lot of you will do the tour after this, where all the exhibitors will get a chance to have a chat to you, and I know there are a couple of big reveals happening and some news, so we welcome you there after this session.
Separately, What's Under the Bonnet in a personal sense, we're very proud to be partners of this. We are just about to launch into season 2 of the podcast, literally this week, aren't we?
On Monday we start recording season 2 of What's Under the Bonnet, so we're really excited about that. A lot of the people that have been our guests are coming through the doors this weekend as well, so that's really nice to see. One of the things that we love about it is the conversations, and that's really, we want to foster conversations over the next 3 days. We want people to ask questions, to learn more, to feel better about this journey. This is not scaremongering. This is not so people don't feel like they can take that step. And you'll also see downstairs there are vehicles, there are hot hatches, there's Formula E, there's people movers, there are something for families, there's motorbikes, e-scooters, so there is something for everyone.
Now, our role in all of this is to actually do that, to have a bit of conversation. We're going to moderate some panel discussions, we're going to have some fireside chats and so on, aren't we?
Absolutely. So we welcome you all to visit the stage over the next 3 days. There'll be Q&As on the stage as well, so feel free to heckle from the back if you will.
All right, that's just about it from our side of things. So very shortly we'll be heading downstage, but we do have a special guest to come up and say a few words before we launch into things. Ray mentioned before that Dr. Michelle Ananda Raja is with us. Would you please make welcome the local federal MP for Higgins, the co-chair of the Parliamentary Friends of Electric Vehicles and Future Fuels Transport Group. Please put your hands together.
Good morning, everyone. It's a real delight to be here today on this historic day, the first EV car show in Australia's history, and I gather the first in 15 years. So this has been a very long gestation, and well done to the organisers and to the OEMs who are here today. I too would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we meet. We pay our respects to them and their elders past, present and emerging. We honour their enduring connection to land, to waters and to culture. In a few weeks from now there'll be an opportunity to vote in a historic referendum. I will be voting yes because there were problems that I could not fix with my prescription pad as a doctor, and it turns out our Parliament can't fix them either. We've run out the white flag on this one, and so now it is over to the people to help provide us with the toolkit so that we can close the gap. It's a wonderful opportunity for our country, and I urge you to find out more if you are unsure where to seek advice from. So today is truly historic, and I am absolutely delighted to be here. I can barely contain my enthusiasm because I am the co-chair of the Parliamentary Friends of Electric Vehicles and Future Fuels. We put in the future fuels so as not to bias the future, right? But I also have some lived experience with an electric vehicle. I have one, I've had it for a while now, and I've been on a home electrification journey for some time now, over a decade. So this thing just charges off my roof, and I'm so impressed with it that I have another EV coming for a very lucky recipient in my family who needs to get a job. But today is fantastic. We have over 100 EVs on display, and there are some new models that Australians will soon get access to. And it's an opportunity to really get up close and personal with these cars, to see them, to feel them, to get in there, you know, hold on. Not sure about driving, but there are lots of opportunities for driving and test driving, and I would urge Australians to participate. There are many companies around the country that provide that opportunity to test drive these vehicles, and they do drive differently. They drive better. They drive better. There is instant power, instant torque, really good for getting yourself out of sticky situations, but also you brake less in these cars, so there's less wear and tear. And one of my personal favorites is that they have lower running costs. Now this was one of the reasons why I flipped from an ICE vehicle to an EV. My running costs were accelerating, 4 digits and going up. And it was completely unacceptable, and I was ready to make that switch about 2 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, but there was nothing on the market. There was very, very little choice. So I held off, just sucked it up and paid those bills. And then the market opened up, and I made that leap, and I've not looked back, So it's fantastic to see that Australians are embracing these cars. New car sales last year were 2%, they've now surged to 8%. That's a 120% increase. We are seeing that uptick in EV sales. 90% of these cars are battery electric vehicles. So Australians are making that switch, and we want to support them, and we did that by sending a signal last year. In November of last year, we brought in tax cuts for electric vehicles. So they're actually, for example, a $50,000 car, you will be saving around $5,000. And we've waived import duty for cars below that luxury tax threshold, which is sitting at around $89,000 at the moment. So there's a lot of opportunity there. And in addition to this, you know, we've taken a really forward-facing posture with respect to electrification of our transport sector. Why? Because it is so critical to our decarbonisation strategy. Our movement to a net zero economy relies upon decarbonising transport. I can't emphasise that enough. If we don't, transport emissions will become the highest source of emissions by 2030. It is that serious. Right now they account for around 20% of our emissions, and the biggest slice of that pie are in fact passenger vehicles. We have around 15 million of them on the road. So this is a journey. We have to flip that fleet in order to decarbonise. But we'll get there. And you know, what I've just mentioned is a projection. However, it is only a projection. The choices we make today, both as legislators and you as industry, and marketers and communicators, will be that force that bends that curve. So we don't have to accept that transport emissions will be the highest source in 2030. We can have a much different future depending on the choices we make today. In addition to that, I know Australians are worried about range anxiety. That is one of the key barriers, I think, to uptake, along with price, but we'll talk about price in a minute. With respect to range anxiety, we have released $500 million as a government to ARENA. It's called Driving the Nation Fund, to basically now supercharge, essentially, charges around the country. So charging infrastructure is getting built. It is a process. It will take time, but it is coming. And in RMA, we're given $100 million to introduce fast chargers every 150 kilometres, particularly up the east coast of Australia. So that will be amazing and will help with this transition. And then we have the issue of fuel standards. I know that is on everyone's minds right now, and that's really important. We have just closed submissions and uploaded 1,200 public submissions to the website on fuel emission standards. So an impact analysis is going on right now, and you know, just wait and see. Watch this space. They are coming, and really can't say any more than that. But obviously, I want to see best practice introduced in Australia so that we can compete on a level playing field with the rest of the world. And that signal will also mean that car manufacturers send more vehicles to Australia, and that can only be a good thing for our consumers. In addition to that, we are taking a sector-by-sector approach to decarbonisation, because every sector is different. For example, agriculture will have different needs to transport, or aviation, for example. And within transport, it's not just about cars, there are also vans and there are trucks. And I recently, just last week, had a trucks roundtable in Parliament where we had a whole range of manufacturers, and I must say I learned a lot. It was very instructive. I learned about prime movers and light vehicles and weights and so on and so forth. And it's absolutely evident to me that we need to do a bespoke piece of work with the truck industry in order to help them transition as well. And they're eager to do so because it will help them with their ESG requirements and so on. Not to mention our heaviest emitters, like our resource industry, need to decarbonise transport. So it's very important that we get this right. So I will stop there and just want to say congratulations to the organisers for putting in the hard yards, and to the car manufacturers for sending your vehicles here. We want to see more come to Australia. We are absolutely keen to do everything possible to make that happen, and I'm here to support that journey. And obviously I would love to see lots and lots of curious minds walk through the door and consider your next vehicle as an EV rather than a conventional engine. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. Okay, I think we have a couple of minutes to maybe grab a little something to eat and a coffee, but we want to kick things off if we can, particularly to those of you that are looking after photography, vision and so on. We're heading to Peugeot at 7:50 downstairs, so and you're going to play tour guide, aren't you, and direct people from stand to stand, so as is the way traditionally with motor shows, we're going to give you good people from the media a snapshot of what we have to offer. We've got industry people here today. So head downstairs, 7:50 please, we are headed for Peugeot. Thank you.